Today we're going to be looking at service outsourcing, and we're joined by the CEO of Jaza Center, Mr. Joseph Gishonge. Welcome. Maybe before we get into matters of discussing the challenges and the pros and cons of outsourcing services, we can first demystify, or rather elaborate on what business process outsourcing is all about.
This is the practice of contracting a third-party service provider to deliver a service for a function, a function of the business process.
Mm-hmm. So this is basically contracting a third party to get you the services that you require.
Exactly.
Now, how does this influence service delivery?
It comes with a lot of, when businesses generally look at outsourcing, they expect to ideally increase efficiency, get more specialized, because ideally, outsourcing companies are expert in the areas they outsource. Mm-hmm. So if it's customer service, these are, businesses that are purely focused on customer service delivery. Mm-hmm. If it's in the areas of financial service delivery, service, it's corporates or rather businesses that are focused on specifically those businesses, mm-hmm. Those areas. So they are professionals, mm-hmm. And they have specialized in those areas.
Well, yes. Now, since you've talked about efficiencies, there's a question of balancing when it comes to quality quality and standards of services rendered. Because I'm imagining if I'm looking for an ICT guru, I'd want that ICT person to work under me, under my own terms. So how do you strike a balance between a third party when you've asked a third party to deliver the service?
In fact, that's where, there's been the biggest challenge in terms of the expectation from the professionals working for those outsourcing companies, and now the companies contracting the outsourcing. The companies, people, the personnel working for the service provider, and their expectation generally.
So how do you balance that?
The service providers, the sourcing companies are also in business. So ideally, they're looking to, make a revenue out of that service. Mm-hmm. So most of the time, you realize the service will be compromised because of because for them to make a margin, they have to look for people that will definitely not have to demand so much in terms of their remuneration and all that. So to some extent, they will end up compromising a little bit. Mm-hmm. However, the outsourcing company, the company looking for that service has to have a system in place. By the time you're looking for that to outsource a function of your business processes, you also have to ensure that your HR remains as, you have to keep the key people in those departments, in charge. Okay.
So other than that, when the outsourcing companies per se want to make a margin, other than that, what are the other challenges that are facing this subsector?
There are challenges in terms of course, a lot of companies also feel when they outsource, of course, they are risking, losing very important data, mm-hmm. Confidential, integrity. Also exposing themselves to competition, because mm-hmm. to some extent there is that loss of touch in terms of management, and. So there's quite a number of challenges.
But now, I think it's a niche that is growing.
Yes.
And what are the emerging trends in outsourcing?
The other thing is this, Regina, mm-hmm. the advantages of actually outsourcing, so to speak, according to me, they are much more in terms of, what businesses eventually realize, mm-hmm. The ultimate achievement from those businesses is that, of course, they realize much more, they have much more time when they have delegated most of these functions to other people. They have much more time to focus on their core business. And so, of course, you know, that translates now to the
great output.
The great
now, how
output.
can small and medium enterprises tap into this niche? Because it's a niche, it's a subsector that has a lot of potential.
I think currently Kenya is leading actually in terms of that. If you look at all the sectors, you know, the banking sector, mobile telephony companies, I mean, it cuts across. Outsourcing is the future of generally the business, and I mean, that is the way to go. So there is all that, and ideally, if you look at the trends right now, even, you know, international corporations getting to outsource from Africa, Asia, where they can be able to get much cheaper labor and all that, then...
Well, as we come to a close, I think now we've seen even companies coming in to outsource domestic workers. What's your take about that? Since it's a very sensitive issue, you have to get someone to actually stay with your child, and now if you're outsourcing nannies, how do you manage? How do you strike a balance there? You
know, traditionally, I mean, the only service that probably has been outsourced traditionally more and more was security services. And you see now, we've seen more corporate businesses actually now outsourcing, you know, customer service, financial management, and now domestic service, the new kid on the block.
So are we expecting to see more matters of well-trained nannies actually coming into the market?
Definitely.
Courtesy of this upcoming kind of trend?
Definitely. I mean, when you go into an area and you focus, and your focus is to outsource a service to either, you know, the general public or the corporates and all that, you have to be really skilled in that area and, you know, very an expert in that area.
In that field.
In that field. So, and you've seen the trend also, I mean, the new, I mean, like what Jaza Center is doing now, you know, providing domestic service to career professional moms who need their homes to run while they are pursuing and growing their career. And,
so this is a trend?
It's a trend generally.
Outsourcing is the way to go?
It's the way to go.
Okay.
And for any business to survive or to move to the next level, of course, at the very lower level, there is not much you can be able, because again, you know, it depends on what every business can be able to afford. But as the business grows, you focus and make sure that, of course, that is the way to go, because it gives you more time to focus on the core business.
Okay. Very well said. If you've just joined us, that has been the CEO of Jaza Center, Mr. Joseph Gishonge, telling us that, yes, outsourcing is the way to go, and small and medium enterprises can actually take advantage of this growing niche.